was removed, okay? To the point where they literally had to play him because they had no other option, right? And they throw him in there this week to make his rookie NFL debut as a starter. It's his first time starting on an NFL field, y'all, with a team that they let him practice with starting last Wednesday. He had 3 or 4 days to practice with the starting unit. That's it, before he started on an NFL field. They set him up to fail. And God's timing is crazy because he wears number 12 and he made his debut start in week 12 of the NFL. Then before the game even starts, he tells the reporter lady, I'm the one they've been waiting for. No, it wasn't a question mark at the end. That was a statement. I am the one they've been waiting for.
Shedeur Sanders didn't just step onto the field against the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday night. He detonated a moment the league has been whispering about for months. Whether they admitted it or not, this wasn't a debut. It was a shockwave. Out of nowhere, a 5th-round pick walked in and made the entire NFL ask the same question in disbelief. How did this dude pull that off? A rookie quarterback isn't supposed to shake the whole league like this. A Cleveland Browns quarterback definitely isn't supposed to shake the league like this. Yet Shedeur walked into Allegiant Stadium and did something nobody saw coming. He snapped a streak that's been untouched since 1996. He didn't just win his first NFL start, he straight up owned it.
Shedeur Sanders, not gonna lie to you, got a whole TV to itself today. And frankly, I wasn't disappointed. I was actually entered. In fact, when he threw the bomb,
the Browns didn't squeak past the Raiders. They stomped them 24-10. And in the middle of all that smoke, Sanders proved every scout who doubted him had been playing the wrong game. But here's the part that really has the NFL offices pacing around with wide eyes and bad coffee breath. This performance dragged in numbers that don't even make sense for a Week 12 matchup between two teams drifting toward draft season. According to league execs and Nielsen data, Shedeur Sanders' first real NFL moment pulled over 4.6 million live viewers across national TV, local stations, and every digital spot where fans could get a stream. That's not preseason noise. That's primetime attention for a game nobody was supposed to check for. This wasn't supposed to be a headline event. This wasn't supposed to have the country stopping mid-air just to see a 5th-round rookie make history. But 4.6 million people tuned in like they were watching a playoff rematch. That's wild when you realize that number smokes some actual postseason games. It even beats a bunch of Monday Night Football matchups during a regular year.
Game that you were going to show this fan base that you are who they've been looking for. How do you think you did that?
I think I showed a couple of great pieces. It's some things I wish, I could get back, but man, a win is crazy. It's amazing, off of 1 week of practice, 1 week of practice. So imagine, what a full offseason look like. It get dangerous, but it's just a 1 week of practice, so I'm just truly thankful,
Which has networks quietly sweating behind the scenes. These are the types of numbers you expect when two Super Bowl contenders go at it in front of the world. Not when a first-year quarterback is thrown into the fire against the Raiders in the middle of a season both teams were supposed to sleepwalk through. And yet, it happened. The story was supposed to go another way. Shedeur Sanders was meant to chill on the bench, nothing more. Dillon Gabriel was supposed to be the chosen one. The Browns were supposed to run back their classic routine of maybe next year. And everyone was ready for another chapter in Cleveland's long book of quarterback disasters. But then Gabriel got hurt. Then the media pressure started cooking the building. And suddenly, Kevin Stefanski made a move that flipped the script upside down. He handed the keys to the 5th-round kid, the kid nobody was supposed to trust yet. And what did Shedeur Sanders do the moment he got the chance? He walked into a franchise that hasn't had real quarterback stability in over 30 years. He stepped into a fan base that's been bruised by broken promises, fake hope, and seasons that crumble before Thanksgiving.
Scrambling out to your right, avoiding the blitz, and you throw that 52-yard touchdown pass. You throw the swing pass, and you get a 66-yard, another touchdown there as well. I give credit where credit is due to Sampson. That is, I give credit where credit is due, because obviously the first week was awful. 25% completion percentage last week when he came in. This week, 55% completion, 47 yards passing. This time, 2,209. A touchdown pass yesterday. Give credit where credit is due. It was really, really good to see him perform, for him to have the opportunity after a few days of practice, like he pointed out, to really, really showcase his skill. And then you look at him. He's bigger than Dylan Gabriel. He clearly has a better arm, can spread the field better, can throw the deep ball. Okay, so he showed you some of the things as to why we were talking about him coming out of Colorado before he fell.
He walked into a stadium packed with 70,000 people who've heard "this time will be different" more times than they've heard their own voicemail greeting, only to watch it fall apart by halftime. And instead of folding under that weight, he took command. That's what real prospects look like. That's what future legends move like. That's who Shedeur Sanders is. And the performance itself? Man, it was surgical. Nothing reckless, nothing chaotic, just pure control. This wasn't some wild highlight reel from a young athlete trying to prove he belongs. This was a calm, poised quarterback running a real NFL game plan with the focus of someone who's been doing this for years, not stepping into his first real moment. 11 completions on 20 attempts for 209 yards, a 55% completion rate. On paper, that might look average, until you remember this was a rookie's first start against a legit NFL defense. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 108.1 passer rating. That number doesn't look historic until you think about how many veteran quarterbacks play a whole career without ever touching a rating that high. Some players get handed an opportunity and freeze. Shedeur Sanders grabbed his and made the whole league pay attention. The box score doesn't even come close to explaining what went down on that field. That 52-yard rocket to Isaiah Bond wasn't just a play, it was a statement.
And I'm just like, oh God, who was that even going to? I wasn't even looking down there to see IB, and then, I'm just looking. I'm like, oh God, please. And he drops it in the bucket, and he reaches it out. I'm like, please, just don't fumble into the end zone. And I'm just like, wow, there's not many guys in the league that can make that throw. So that was a hell of a throw. I hope he can continue to grow and develop.
It was the kind of throw that makes an entire stadium freeze for half a second before everyone starts yelling, wondering if they really just watched a rookie drop a throw only a handful of pros can make. That's the type of moment that tells the whole world this kid can play, loud and clear. Then you add the perfectly timed touchdown screen to Dylan Sampson that exploded into a 66-yard sprint to the end zone. There's nothing lucky about that. That's a young quarterback reading the defense right and unlocking the full power of his squad. That's real system football right there. Even when he threw the interception, his energy never dipped for a second, and that part matters. That's the difference between the ones who survive in this league and the ones who fade out. Shedeur Sanders tossed a pick that Jeremy Chin snagged clean, one of those picture-perfect interceptions that would shake most rookies to the core. A play like that can make a young quarterback second-guess every read, every instinct, every move. But Shedeur didn't fold. He came right back like nothing happened. On the very next series, he marched the offense down the field with the confidence of someone who already knows the league can't scare him. He treated that interception like it was just another rep on a long list of reps he's about to stack. That's how you carry yourself when you truly belong here.
At least 5 times. so it's not, it just come with the game. It is what it is, but I'm just thankful for where I am now. I don't, everybody have their differences, but I still got an opportunity to play, so why can I be mad? Money different, but thankfully I have a good family. So it is what it is. We're not playing for that. We're playing for the love of the game. So I'm just thankful to be out here, have an opportunity, be able to go and play. Go out there and play. Go out there and start. Like, you don't know how surreal, that feeling is, knowing that you have the responsibility of.
And social media, it straight up exploded. People weren't just talking, they were dissecting every frame of his performance. Viewers weren't just watching, they were turning into analysts overnight. The numbers didn't just spike, they shattered expectations for a matchup nobody thought twice about. Even seasoned sports analysts had to redo their whole outlook after what Sanders put on tape. If a 5th-round rookie can shake the entire NFL just by stepping on the field, what does that really say about star power in this league? What does it say about what fans actually want to see? What does it say about the business side when a young quarterback can turn one game into a national event overnight? Those viral viewership numbers didn't just pop, they devoured social media like a storm. National sports shows that had basically erased Cleveland from their talking points were suddenly scrambling to put Shedeur Sanders on their rundown. Even casual fans who never touch a Browns broadcast were locked in because they heard the noise, they saw the clips, they felt the energy that something rare was happening. And the story that exploded out of that one performance was loud and crystal clear. The curse is over. Cleveland finally got its guy. Kevin Stefanski spent the whole week holding his breath, wondering if he was making the right call by letting the rookie take control.
Father and followed up with you, and it went a little viral about feeling the pressure of having to perform at a different level. And you said it's been like that your entire life.
Has it changed?
That's what I'm about to ask you. How'd you feel coming into, is it change at the pro level?
I'm not gonna lie, I felt very relaxed, very relaxed. And half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game because, he took off.
The front office held its breath, afraid this move might turn into a disaster. They couldn't walk back. National analysts held their breath, trying to figure out whether the hype around Shedeur Sanders was the real deal or just another overblown storyline. And then Sanders walked out there and shut every doubt down. He didn't just answer the questions, he smashed them. He answered with a win. He answered with calm. He answered with a performance that didn't feel accidental. It felt earned, like someone who was built for pressure instead of scared of it. And think about the weight of that moment. The Cleveland Browns hadn't seen a rookie quarterback win his first start since 1995. That's almost 3 full decades of frustration. 3 decades of quarterback experiments that went nowhere. 3 decades of rolling the dice on draft picks, chasing free agents, switching systems, firing coaches, and trying anything to finally find the guy who could carry the franchise forward. And somehow, after all those years and all that chaos, the answer didn't come in the first round, or the second, or even the third, or fourth. It came from the 5th round, from the kid everybody underestimated, from the quarterback nobody expected to flip the whole story of Cleveland football on its head. They found him in the 5th round because everybody else was too focused on fancy resumes and big-name draft rankings to recognize real, raw talent staring them in the face. That win over Las Vegas wasn't just big because it broke a curse. It flipped the entire Cleveland Browns identity in one night. Suddenly, they're not the joke anymore. Suddenly, they're not the team everyone clowns online. Instead, they've got the kid everybody wants to watch, the kid who pulled almost 5 million people to a game nobody expected to matter. From a business angle, this is a shockwave. The NFL wasn't ready for the level of pull that Shedeur Sanders suddenly brought to their product.
To say he'll be starting next week, you could have at least said that. It's ridiculous that he didn't say at least that much, even though we know he eventually will, because as I was watching T.O. this morning, he said it accurately. There's no way that you could get away with not starting Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland will have, they'll have mutiny in that city if they don't put Shedeur Sanders back out there.
He was supposed to be a project, a long-term plan, a quiet rookie learning behind the scenes, but instead, he became the kind of player who sparks sponsorship deals, boosts ratings, and makes casual fans crawl back to football like they never left. That's the type of star who changes entire revenue streams. And watching from the skybox at Allegiant Stadium was Deion Sanders, locked in on every snap. You know, the Hall of Famer wasn't just watching his son play, he was watching the beginning of a blueprint. He was seeing a future where his son isn't just a quarterback, but a franchise anchor, a generational leader, the type of player a team builds around for the next 15 years. The DNA is real, the poise is real, the pressure handling is real. Everything you want in a top-tier quarterback is already baked into Shedeur Sanders, and he just proved it under real NFL heat. Sure, the stat sheet doesn't scream record breaker, but that's where context matters. This wasn't about padding numbers. This was about showing he can operate under control when everything around him is heavy. 11 completions on 20 attempts in a game where the play calling stayed cautious on purpose, that's strong work. 209 yards in a scheme designed to keep things steady and let the ground game carry the weight. That's efficiency at its finest. This wasn't supposed to look this smooth for a fifth-round rookie, but it did. 1 touchdown and 1 interception from a rookie in his first real NFL start is normal, expected even.
I think he definitely gave them some hope. He gave them some life.
Yeah.
He definitely put some air in Myles Garrett and a bunch of those other guys, for sure.
You could tell what he did for the team.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at Myles Garrett, who been mad the whole season, right? Because they can't win.
Yeah.
Like, he was celebrating yesterday.
And he was excited.
Yeah,
like,
3 sacks.
He was looking like, did this guy just throw that bomb on the run like that? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, I think in certain guys like that, man, a lot of these dudes, man, they good for the locker room too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not nearly as confident as him.
Right.
So a lot of people are feeding off of that,
him.
and it's kind of.
But those viewership numbers, those 4.6 million eyes glued to their screens, that's not normal at all. That's not a fluke or some random spike. That's star power on another level. That's the kind of rare energy that doesn't just live in the sport, it breaks out of the sport entirely. That's a rookie quarterback turning into the hottest storyline in professional football overnight. And for the first time since the franchise came back in 1999, the Browns finally grabbed what they've been chasing for decades: a real quarterback, a real leader, a real star who can drag a franchise into the future with confidence. From that perfectly placed deep ball to Isaiah Bond that set up a touchdown, to the calmness most veterans still struggle to find, to the way he shook off that interception like it was a warm-up rep. Sanders showed everybody watching that he's built for these moments. He didn't back down, he didn't freeze. He took control. The streak is done. The curse is gone. Cleveland finally has its guy, and the entire NFL is staring at him now, waiting to see what he does next. Because if he can pull 4.6 million viewers in Week 12 against the Raiders, imagine the chaos when the stakes are real. Imagine the attention when Shedeur Sanders lines up against actual playoff contenders. Imagine the business impact when this rookie becomes a household name across the entire country. That's when the NFL is going to realize what just hit them. That's when they're going to understand that Shedeur Sanders isn't just a good prospect. He's a franchise reset button.
The way Shedeur went about it, and I just think this was Shedeur naturally being Shedeur.
Come on now.
How confident he was. Him going out there and saying, with that chip on his shoulder, hey, all the rumors that y'all been saying about me not having first-team reps and whatnot, he could have gone out there and played it the safe way, the way that we wanted him to play it earlier on in the season. But no, he said, hey, look, this is what it looks like after 1 week of practice. Imagine what it looks like with a whole offseason. It gets dangerous. They haven't won a football game in a month. You know who ate that up? The entire locker room. The entire fan base.
Whoa.
They went crazy. They went crazy. Don't pause that, man. Come on. I'm just saying that, the fact that he had that level of confidence going out there in his first start, said what he said before the game, went out there, won the game, said what he said afterwards. I'm happy for Shedeur. I think this is a long time coming. That quarterback situation has been one of the worst.
He's the type of player who can flip losing seasons into playoff chases. He's the type of quarterback who can take a team stuck in the mud and drag it right back into relevance. Cleveland hasn't had a rookie quarterback do what Shedeur Sanders just did in almost 30 years, and he didn't just do it. He did it on national TV with millions of people watching. What people still don't understand is that Shedeur Sanders didn't just win a football game, he cracked open a door the league spent years trying to keep shut. When a rookie shows up and instantly steals the spotlight from veterans who've been grinding for a decade, that makes a whole lot of powerful people uncomfortable. The league likes order, routine, predictable storylines. And Shedeur blew all of that to pieces the second he touched the field. Inside the Browns facility, the energy shifted fast, way faster than anyone expected. Coaches who barely looked his direction a month ago suddenly started treating him like the future of the franchise. Players who used to walk past him in the locker room are now asking him questions, checking in with him between drives.
He is who they've been looking for.
Yep.
For 50 years, who they've been looking for. They got it. He fell right into their lap in the 5th round. Maybe I'm not objective. Maybe you can disqualify me, but I was so happy for that young man last night and for his...
Giving him that quiet nod reserved only for the ones who can really change a team's destiny. That type of respect doesn't get handed out. It gets earned on the field in real time. And outside the building, the reaction is even crazier. Rival teams are already digging through his college tape, trying to figure out how they missed on him. Analysts who called him a project are pretending they didn't say it. Executives around the league are whispering about what Cleveland might become if the kid keeps stacking games like this. That's the kind of shift that keeps front offices awake at night. The craziest part is the emotional impact he's having on the fan base. Cleveland hasn't felt this alive in years. People who swore they were done with the Browns are suddenly wearing jerseys, posting reactions, and talking like the future finally makes sense again. When one player brings that much electricity into a city that's been living in football heartbreak for decades, you know something big is brewing, and the league notices all of it. Every chant, every highlight, every post that goes viral before Sanders even walks off the field. They know what's coming. They know this isn't hype. It's momentum. It's the spark a franchise gets right before it goes from ignored to feared. Shedeur Sanders didn't just introduce himself on Sunday night.
I just believe with all my heart and soul that this young man was born and raised to lead an NFL franchise as the quarterback. I'm not saying he'll be the biggest star we've ever seen at quarterback. I just know he's going to win a whole lot of games if given the opportunity at quarterback.
He announced that the old rules are gone, the old storylines are dead, and a brand new era just kicked off in Cleveland. He won his first NFL start, and he didn't just sneak by. He stamped his name across the league like he'd been here for years. He pulled in viewership numbers nobody expected, numbers that shook the suits in the NFL offices because rookies aren't supposed to draw crowds like that. He grabbed the entire league's attention with calm, control, and confidence that you can't coach into somebody. You only show that kind of presence when you're truly built for this stage. That type of energy only shows up in people who are headed straight for greatness. The records are broken. The curse is gone. Every doubt that had been hanging over Cleveland just faded into smoke. The Browns finally found their guy, and now the whole NFL is scrambling, trying to figure out what this means for the future because the landscape just shifted in real time. Everything changed the moment he stepped under center, and nothing is going back to the way it was. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next one.